Hello and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD and this is the Lair. Today we're unboxing a box of 10 Pokemon cards from PSA that I got graded, and they're here in this box, professionally packaged, so they'll get here nice, safe and sound. Let me get it out of this box and we'll see what grades we got. Let's go. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Arbok, the first edition, the number 31 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's really clean. There's no dirt, damage, bends, or creases. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think that's pretty close to spec, and left to right, it looks a little to the right. And looking at our corners and our edges, I think they're really clean with no damage. As we look at the back of the card, on our centering from top to bottom, I think it's within spec. Left to right, it's towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some slight speck of damage on that lower right corner. And looking at the rest of our surface of the card, it's very clean. I don't see any problems with the graphics or the surface of the card. That's going to give us a grade of Mint 9. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's look at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Cloyster, the first edition, the number 32 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, it's really clean. The graphics are nice and bright and brilliant. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is pretty good or close to spec. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the left, but it's pretty close to the tolerance. Our corners and our edges look really clean. As we look to the back of the card, our centering from top to bottom looks a little towards the top. From left to right, I think our centering looks a little towards the right. Looking at our corners and our edges, our lower left corner has a speck of damage, but the rest of them, the edges and corners look good. Looking at our surface and our graphics, I don't see any damage there at all. And that's going to give us a grade of Mint 9. I like them when in there, a good grade. This card is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Gastly, a first edition, the number 33 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, Gastly's graphics are clean. There's no bends, creases, or dirt or grime. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's towards the right, and centering from top to bottom, slightly towards the top. Our corners and our edges look really nice and with no damage. As we flip the card over and look at the back, you can see our graphics are clean and crisp. There's no problems there. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top. Left to right, the centering is towards the left a little bit. Looking at our corners and our edges, the only thing I can see is there might be some slight damage on that upper left corner. And we'll receive a grade of Mint 9. Like it. I like it like that. Check out this 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Golbat, a first edition, the number 34 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top. Looking at it from left to right, I think it's pretty close to the spec. Looking at our corners and our edges, they look really nice and clean with no damage, and our surface and graphics are really clean and bright. As we look at the back of the card, our centering from top to bottom is slightly towards the top. On our centering from left to right, it's definitely towards the left. And looking at our corners and our edges, the upper right corner might have some slight damage, but very slight. And our graphics and our main surface of the card look really clean with no bends or creases. And that will get us a grade of Mint 9. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. This card is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Golduck, a first edition, the number 35 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's really clean. The graphics are nice and bright. There's no creases or bends. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top. And our centering from left to right, it's a little bit towards the the right. Looking at our corners and our edges, I don't see any damage there that'll affect a grade. As we turn to the back, you can see the graphics and the surface of the card are clean. There's no bends or creases. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's towards the left, and from top to bottom, our centering is slightly towards the top. Finally, looking at our corners and our edges, both upper corners have some damage, and there's some very slight damage down that right side. And that'll get us a grade of near Mint 8. Wow, that should have been a little better, I think. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Golem, a first edition, the number 36 card. Looking at the front of this card, you can see the graphics are nice and crisp and clean and bright. Our surface has no bends or creases. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's towards the left a little bit, and from top to bottom, it's towards the top. Looking at our corners and edges, they're really clean with no damage. As we turn this card over and look at the back, our surface is really clean. There's no dirt, damage, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, our centering is towards the top, and our left to right centering is slightly towards the right. Looking at our corners and our edges, both lower corners have some slight damage, and I think that's it. Our grade is going to be a mint 9. I like my 9s. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Growler, a first edition, the number 37 card. Looking at the front of this card, it's really clean. I don't see any dirt, damage, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, it's slightly towards the right. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it's towards the top. As we look at our edges and our corners, they're really clean with no damage. Flipping the card over and looking at the back of this card, you can see that our centering from top to bottom is towards the top, and left to right is slightly towards the left. Our corners on our edges look pretty good. There might be some slight damage on the two lower corners. Looking at the surface of this card, there's no damage, creases, or bends. Graveler, we see a grade of mint 9. Gotta like it. Let us look at a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Kingler, a first edition, the number 38 card. The front graphics of this card are really crisp and clean and bright. There's no problems on the surface like a crease or a bend. Our centering from left to right is slightly towards the left, and our top to bottom centering looks a little bit towards the top. Our corners and our edges are really clean with no damage. Flipping the card over, we can see that the back of the card looks really clean. There's no problems on the surface or the graphics. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it's slightly towards the top. Looking at it from left to right, it's towards the right. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper right corner and the lower left corner have some slight. And that's going to give us a grade of mint 9. That's going to give us a grade of mint 9. Gotta like it. Here is a 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Magmar, a first edition, the number 39 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, the graphics are nice and clean. There's no bends or creases. Our centering from left to right is towards the right, and our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Our corners on our edges are really clean. I don't see any damage on them. Looking to the back, you can see that our centering from left to right is towards the left, and our centering from top to bottom, I think that's pretty close to spec. Looking at our surface and our graphics, I don't see any damage or creases or bends. Looking at our corners on our edges, it looks like our upper right corner and our lower left corner and the lower right corner all might have some damage, and there might be some slight damage down that right side. And we'll get a grade of near mint 8. I think that should have been a little better. Let's look at this 1999 Pokemon Fossil Set Amistar, a first edition, the number 40 card. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's really clean. I don't see any damage or dirt, grime, creases, or any bends. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top and left to right. It looks pretty close to spec, maybe a little bit towards the right, but I think the corners and our edges are really clean. As we turn to the back, you can see our graphics and our surface are clean with no bends or creases. Our centering from top to bottom looks a little to the top maybe, and centering from left to right is definitely a little bit towards the left. Our corners on our edges, it looks like our both left corners have some slight damage. That's going to get us a grade of mint 9. I like it when I get the 9s. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and the cards I presented. Please like and subscribe, and remember, you got to catch them all. Have a great day.